Match number 5. The WCW Tag Team Champions Harlem Heat versus the Nasty Boys versus the Blue Bloods, Lord Steven Regal and Earl Robert Eaton.
Lot of talent in the ring, completely wasted by a confusing setup.
Well, this is sort of funny. When the explanation of a match at the start, and they do explain it to everybody watching, they harp on about all the ways that if you're disqualified, you will possibly win the...
Yeah.
And what you realise, this match comes from a time when the triple threat tag team match was very much an unknown quantity. It had been popularised by and stolen from ECW, where they did it well. But they're sort of almost like, now we're taking it, we have to re-educate our fans as to what's going on. God bless him, Bobby Heenan cannot work out how this works.
And a save from Harlem Heat.
Yeah, there's no sense covering the nasties. You can't win nothing beating the nasties.
Yeah, you can.
That's right. Whoever wins the match wins the title.
Yes.
I forgot about that clause.
They can cover a nasty and win the World Tag Team belts.
Well, that's what I said. They should cover the nasties.
You didn't
win.
say that.
That's just what I said.
You did not.
If you'd pay attention, you'd understand me.
Every time he references what the outcome might be, he gets it entirely wrong. And he's completely pro with it. Because if in Corey Graves, I'd sit there and go, you fucking idiot. Stupid, you stupid bastard. Heenan's just great where he sort of goes, so yeah, if they lose, then the Harlem Heat will lose the belts. And Tony Schiavone will go, no, that's not how it works.
Wrong.
And Heenan will just go, look, if you'd listen to me, Schiavone, you would understand what I'm saying. Love that, just turning on it. He'd also sort of say, well, that's just what I said. Absolutely the consummate pro, where things go wrong and he's just like, I'll fold it in to my on-screen character.
6 guys, 3 teams who don't like each other at all.
I don't think the Blue Bloods understand this match. I know I don't.
William Regal is billed as being from Stoke-on-Trent. A nice
Very
little
regal
bit.
part. Very regal part.
It is.
Of the world.
It is. The nice bit about Blackpool as well, you do get the impression that with things like the Blackpool Combat Club in AEW at the minute, that Regal is sort of the head of, and the fact that every interview he does, he talks about how wonderful Blackpool is and how much it's given him. I love the fact that even in 1995, he's ending up talking to Bobby Heenan about Blackpool. So they go to Huntington Beach in California. Heenan sort of says, I spoke to Regal, and he was saying it's not a patch on Blackpool. He also says the women aren't a patch on Blackpool women as well. And I love that because the Americans would just go, oh, it must be quite nice. For British fans, you're going, good joke. Very funny.
Yeah.
Heenan comes out with a line, he says, talking about how British women look, and he just says, I mean, look at the Queen and Princess Anne. They're knockouts.
I mean, look at Queen Elizabeth and Princess Anne. They're knockouts.
What? All right, the Nasty Boys.
Having a go at Princess Anne.
It's quite a bold thing. It's odd because you don't hear that on British TV.
No.
You'd never hear in the middle of a sports thing someone going, the Queen's a looker, isn't she? Fucking hell. I found it quite sort of, ooh, exciting.
Naughty.
I love the way the Blue Bloods come in wearing their robes on the beach, because it's really the first time we've seen someone in full wrestling get-up, and it looks strange because they're actually out in public. They're not within a wrestling setting, and they do look ridiculous. This is a tag team they put together, Regal, who, I think had a hard time getting over because he was technically very proficient, but British, and so sort of an outsider, and people didn't really see him as a main eventer by any means within the fan base, if you like. They have Bobby Eaton, one of the great wrestlers of all time, great tag team wrestlers, and they don't know what to do with him. They put them together. They make Robert Eaton into, this posh character. He's found he's got blue blood. They loved working together. Bobby Eaton did not say one thing in this character. He just couldn't even bring himself to sort of go, hello, peasants. He's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this is. The Nasty Boys come out and they look spectacular. They actually look tailor-made for this sort of rough and ready wrestling sort of thing. And
because they look like backyard wrestlers, and this looks like a backyard.
They do. They just come out as a proper package. I know they're called the Nasty Boys, but you look at them and you just go, nasty. Two nasty boys.
Nasty boys.
Magic. And the Blue Bloods versus the Nasties, whenever they're in the ring, it's just amazing. I mean, I could watch those two teams.
Yeah.
I love that combination of, it's the perfect dynamic, the posh and the wretched.
Oh, Stephen taking an armpit is so good.
So good. And Regal's selling that. And, Regal as well, one of the most underrated things that he's always said in interviews, but which I don't think he really noticed at the time, he is one of the few people doing proper end-of-the-pier comedy wrestling. And I say end-of-the-pier, I don't diminish it in that respect. It's a whole different style of working that was unique to Britain that we really don't see in America. And he's doing it in 1995 in WCW. He is taking the stuff that would have worked in Worthing, in the floral halls and he is taking that was there in Britain from the 60s onwards, and he's putting it on this international stage.
You don't sort of really see Regal's face as much as you should do, because obviously his facials are like one of the main reasons why he's so bloody good.
Yeah.
So they should really have zoomed in a bit more.
Oh, completely. I just think at this time, of course, like all the WCW camera guys, they're not even aware of what he's doing. You know,
Yeah.
it just that doesn't even cross their minds. Harlem Heat always seemed to me, they always stuck out slightly as not being trained fully. And there's a bit where Booker T runs into, I think it's Brian Knobbs who's in the corner, and I think Booker's supposed to just do a clothesline, and somehow Booker just goes straight over the top rope and falls onto the floor. And it seems like quite a simple manoeuvre that Booker has done something quite stratospherically wrong. They were always, they had a herky-jerky nature for me, Harlem Heat, but they also seemed a little bit like they were just 10 degrees away from being able to do this properly. They did obviously become, especially in Booker's case, better over the years, but at this point they're still quite sort of ragged.
Yeah.
There's something a bit sort of unrelaxing about them. A terrible ending for this match, which is really good, really hard for, constant as well, really, really exciting action. The Nasties get the pin, so Regal is backdropped onto Booker or someone,
Right.
and then Sags sits on Booker and Steven Regal for the 3 count. But the referee goes, no, you were on top of the man who was in the middle of the sandwich, and the middle of the sandwich was doing the pin.
We'll start the fucking countdown earlier then.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pin Regal anyway, just have Booker pin him. You know, you don't need to go, the Nasties won, no, it was Harlem Heat, nah.
Yeah. So no one really knows in the crowd.
No, a classic Dusty finish, and also not explained to the people watching.
No.
So they're just like, what, are we just giving up everything that, you know, makes sense now? We're just like, you know, oh, who's won? It's that guy. That guy's the winner now. What? He's not even in the ring. Doesn't make any sense.
But I think it's Booker T that says, we just defeated 2 fat punks and 2 so-called foreigners.
That's Stevie Ray.
Is it Stevie Ray?
And that he does a good pause, and he goes, and 2 so-called foreigners. 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 I mean, what a terrible thing to say.
The whole world just saw exactly what me, my brother, and my sister told you we was gonna do. We took 2 fat punks and took 2 so-called foreigners and whooped them just like the dogs they really are.
Match number 6, Ric Flair versus the Macho Man Randy Savage in a Lifeguard match.
Yeah.
A classic Flair promo to start this off. I mean,
Elizabeth saw the nature boy, and just like the Baywatch girls, she broke down, had to have it, and she moved on to a bigger, brighter life with the nature boy.
Did she go to Space Mountain?
You know she did, baby. And last night,
he references WrestleMania 8. He says, I swept Elizabeth off her feet in her finest hour, which I loved as a phrase. He slapped Randy's dad, Angelo Poffo, and Mean Gene is really enjoying this. Mean Gene is properly chuckling along and just goading him into it. The graphic for the match is a bit strange because they've got the 2 heads come up, and they've done something with the green screen. So you can see behind it, and for some reason the green screen's also taken out Flair's nostrils and eyes. So it's flickering like he's got sort of some weird demon inside him, undulating. Out comes Flair wearing baby pink trunks, sort of slightly repellent. Don't like them. Occasionally with the glare of the sun, it does look like he's nude. Don't like that. He is probably the biggest American star who has wrestled the most outdoors out of everyone. He did lots of stadium shows, you know, throughout the 80s. So I say in America because in Puerto Rico they had lots of open air stuff. So Carlos Colon probably wrestled more times outdoors. Fascinated about who is the most outdoors wrestler of all time.
Well, they're sort of selling the North Korean pay-per-view in this show quite a lot. And that was outdoors, wasn't it?
That would be outdoors, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the largest crowd ever to see a wrestling event. Classic WCW, twice in the same year, because it was North Korea, no tickets were sold. So
and everyone was busting.
Yeah, but they have 100,000 people there who literally were press ganged to sit there and watch something they'd never seen before. I mean, you talk about culture shock to see, you know, Bam Bam Bigelow and just go, well, you know, I didn't know whether we were going to be taken to the salt mine. Instead, I got to see Chris Jericho working, you know, very odd. You get the extras come out from Baywatch, taking everyone, the unfeatured sort of ladies, the second stringers from Baywatch. Heenan is by this time up on his chair.
He's up on his chair because he wants to see the ladies.
Yep, Tony's delighted by it. What could be
gain off of
better
it.
than being with a really randy Bobby Heenan? This is wonderful.
That is randiest.
Yeah, Heenan does a really loud fingers in his mouth wolf whistle as well. And there's something about Heenan that you just go, of course Heenan can do that. People who can do the fingers in mouth wolf whistle, they're a certain type of man, aren't they?
Different vibe, yeah.
They are. They're a very confident man that you'll always have a good time with. And the fact that Heenan could do that did not come as a surprise.
No.
I did look at it and I kind of thought, are they going to ask the Baywatch girls to be the lifeguards who have to throw people back in the ring like a lumberjack? But it turns out it is just the usual WCW wrestlers. Out they come, all wearing matching T-shirts, again, part of the Slim Jim promotion. You get your Johnny B. Bad there, Booker T and Stevie Ray and Max Muscle, all the greats. And Arn Anderson is also there. They do a nice little bit of foreshadowing, just going, he's one of Flair's best friends. Why is he out there?
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's not, of course, on this card as well. So he's been brought for a special reason. I was glad to see he did get involved in this match because I thought it would be very humiliating that he's not on the card and they've made him come along to work to just take part in this silly bit. This match, widely reviewed as being the best on the show.
Yeah.
I was nonplussed about the whole thing until the last 5 minutes, really.
Yeah.
They were sort of scrappy with each other. And again, I think, Savage and Flair, they benefit from the stage of an auditorium. And spotlights and fireworks and grand entrances. And it makes them look smaller and diminished by putting them scrapping on a beach like two very drunk old Spanish men. It doesn't quite catch fire, this whole thing. Flair is also doing very big Flair to try and reach everyone in the crowd at the very back. And so he's doing a lot of, my God, a lot, which is, it's low quality fun.
Low quality fun,
to be honest. There's some bits of scrappy bits. So there's Flair goes up the turnbuckle to do his jump off that never really works, and Savage doesn't quite do enough in time, so Flair comes off and he sort of bounces on the rope, and Tony Schiavone has to sort of go, oh, he caught his jaw right on the rope. And it's just hard to sort of sell that as being you wouldn't build a match around you go, my jaw hurts. You got jawed. Savage's dad Angelo is in the crowd. You cut to him a few times. He's got his top off. Old beach bum.
Hey, you kids, is there a spare one of those brewskis going?
Just a dirty old man.
I live in a shack just down there. Say I live there.
You want to come fishing? Angelo.
You guys ever tried PCB? You gotta get some in a Tupperware. You sloshing around. She's pretty cute. Is she your girlfriend?
Oh, God, Angela.
She could be a mermaid. Sexy mermaid.
I've been a ship. We're trying to get some people from A to B, but it didn't work out. I see him there. You can't fucking get rid of
Oh, Angelo.
At one point in this match as well, in the background, a big bird flies by. And it flies by really slowly. It goes really slowly from one end of the screen to the other. I found that mesmerising. I thought to myself, it's weird that there's a bird that's been at a wrestling match.
Really good seat, yeah.
This is probably the wrestling event that was seen by the most birds. WCW again, proud of that. The most birds. No money. In comes Arn Anderson at one point. He DDTs Randy Savage. Flair covers him but gets a 2 count. And Savage then just sort of goes, right, well, let's go at the end. He gets up, he just smashes Flair around. And then he does one of those wonderful Savage elbows, the absolute cracker elbows, where this is a great location for it because the cameramen are all close. There are no long shots.
Yeah.
And so Savage just thuds into Flair's chest. I mean, absolutely nothing pulled, just magic. They then do a Slim Jim snap of the match. And of course, Savage is their spokesman. So the first thing they show is Arn Anderson DDTing him. I thought that was, again, typically WCW, but then they do show the Savage elbow. And honestly, it doesn't matter what match Randy Savage has. If he hits one of those great Savage elbows at the end, you come away just absolutely uplifted. It's just beautiful. So nice.
And then he grabs a Baywatch woman's head too.
He does. You can tell as well, like with Hulk Hogan, they recognise Hulk Hogan so they feel safe. But with Randy Savage, they just don't. I don't know who this guy. I've never seen him before.
Shouting so much.
Well, you know me. I'm safe. I'm a big star. You're not. I don't know what you are.
Is that smells of meat?
Is that shack? Your dad's shack?
He didn't tell you about the boat. No one went overboard the boat.
My father had a boat. Fuck off, Lanny.
It's George the Poet.
Savage pounding away.
Well, the referee has to take control here. He's got to get Flair back into the ring.